Everyone else seemed to be moving forward, while he felt like he was quietly standing still. Promotions, engagements, new houses. Every scroll through his phone felt like proof that life had chosen everyone else, but not him. Meanwhile, his days blurred together. Same route, same job, same unanswered questions. And the worst part? No one could see it, because on the outside, he looked fine. Maybe this feels familiar. The quiet frustration of watching life happen for others, while yours refuses to move. But what happened next? Nobody expected. Ethan worked as a night shift locksmith. Not the kind you call during the day for new locks or upgrades. He was the one people called at 2 a.m., standing outside their cars, their homes, their lives locked out. There was something oddly poetic about it. He spent his nights helping people get back into places they belonged in, and his days, he slept through them like he didn't belong anywhere at all. 32, Ethan wasn't where he thought he'd be. Not even close. His best friend Daniel had just opened a second restaurant. His younger sister had 2 kids and a house in the suburbs. Even people he barely knew were building something. Ethan? He had a toolbox, a small apartment, and a growing habit of comparing himself to everyone. His flaw wasn't laziness. It was resentment, quiet, controlled, invisible, but always there. Every time someone said, "Things will work out, man," he nodded, while thinking, "Easy for you to say." He avoided calls, skipped reunions, ignored invitations, because every conversation felt like a reminder of how far behind he was. One night, sitting in his van between calls, he stared at his reflection in the rearview mirror. "You really messed this up," he muttered. There was no dramatic failure in his past. No single moment that ruined everything. Just years of drifting, small delays, safe choices, waiting for clarity that never came. And slowly, life moved on without him. It happened on a cold Tuesday at 3:17 a.m. Ethan got a call from a man locked out of his apartment. When he arrived, the guy looked exhausted. Mid-40s, suit wrinkled, eyes red. "Rough night?" Ethan asked, pulling out his tools. The man gave a dry laugh. "You could say that. Lost my job today." Ethan paused for a second, then kept working. "Sorry to hear that." They stood in silence as Ethan worked the lock. Click. Door opened. The man didn't move. Instead, he said quietly, "You ever feel like you're falling behind everyone else?" Ethan froze. "Yeah," he replied. The man nodded slowly. "I spent 20 years chasing something I thought mattered. Promotions, titles, money." He looked inside his dark apartment. "And now I don't even know why I was in such a hurry." That hit harder than Ethan expected, because for the first time, he saw the opposite side. Someone who wasn't behind. Someone who had made it, and still felt lost. As Ethan walked back to his van, his usual thoughts didn't come. Not, "I'm behind," but something worse. What if I'm not behind, just going nowhere? That question stayed with him, louder than any comparison. The next morning, Ethan didn't go to sleep. Instead, he sat in his kitchen as the sky slowly turned blue. It had been a long time since he'd seen sunrise. The light felt unfamiliar, almost uncomfortable. For years, his life existed in darkness, literally and mentally. That quiet morning forced something he'd been avoiding. Stillness. No notifications. No comparisons. No distractions. Just him. And for the first time, he didn't blame his situation on others. He asked a different question. What have I actually been doing with my time? The answer wasn't dramatic, but it was honest. Avoiding decisions, delaying risks, waiting for motivation. He opened his phone and checked his screen time. 5 hours and 42 minutes a day. Scrolling, watching, comparing. He did the math in his head. Almost 40 hours a week. A full-time job. Ethan leaned back in his chair. "That's it," he whispered. Not anger, not motivation, just clarity. Later that day, he visited a small hardware store he used to supply from. The owner, Mr. Alvarez, was fixing a broken key cutter. You still doing night calls? He asked. Yeah, Ethan said, thinking about changing things. Mr. Alvarez smirked. Took you long enough. Ethan raised an eyebrow. What do you mean? The old man shrugged. You're good with your hands. Always have been. But you treat it like a job. Not a skill. That stayed with him. A job is something you endure. A skill is something you build. That evening, instead of sleeping, Ethan stayed awake. He cleaned his tools, reorganized his van, and for the first time in years, he didn't feel behind. He felt responsible. For 2 weeks, Ethan tried something new. He reduced his night calls, started learning advanced lock systems during the day, even considered starting a small service business. For the first time, he felt movement. Then reality hit. Bills piled up. Fewer calls meant less money. His savings, already thin, started shrinking fast. One night, sitting in his van, his phone buzzed. A message from Daniel. Bro, just hit 6 figures this quarter. Dinner soon. Ethan stared at the message, then looked at his nearly empty gas tank. The old feeling rushed back. You're an idiot, he muttered. You had stability. You gave it up for what? An idea. His hands tightened on the steering wheel. This was the moment. The one where most people quit. Go back. Play safe. Accept being stuck. He opened his banking app again. The number didn't change. Still low. Still real. Ethan closed his eyes. And for a second, he almost went back. But something small stopped him. Not motivation. Not a speech. Just a memory. That man outside his apartment. I don't even know why I was in such a hurry. Ethan exhaled slowly. Yeah, I don't want that life either. The next morning, he made a different decision. Not to chase success, but to build something real. He kept his night shifts reduced, not eliminated. Used his mornings to train. Started offering specialized services, security upgrades, custom lock installations. First, no one called. Days passed. Silence. Doubt crept in again. Then one afternoon, a woman walked into the hardware store. I heard someone here does security systems? Mr. Alvarez pointed to Ethan. That's him. Ethan hesitated, then stepped forward. Yeah, I can help. It wasn't perfect. He stumbled through explanations, undersold himself, doubted his pricing, but he showed up. That job led to another, then another. Not fast, not impressive, but real. And slowly, something changed inside him. He stopped checking what others were doing, because for the first time, he had something of his own. Not success, but direction. 1 year later, Ethan still drove the same van. But everything else was different. It was cleaner, organized, branded with a small logo. Ethan Lock and Security. He still worked nights sometimes. But now it was by choice, not default. His days were filled with real clients, real work, real progress. Not scrolling, not comparing. One morning, as the sun rose, he sat outside a client's house after finishing an overnight installation, coffee in hand. Tired, but steady. His phone buzzed. Another message. Another success story from someone else. This time, he didn't open it. He just smiled. Because for the first time in years, he didn't feel behind. He felt on his own timeline. Here's the truth most people never realize. Feeling behind has nothing to do with time. It has everything to do with direction. Ethan didn't change his life overnight. He changed what he did with his hours. Because 5 hours a day equals over 1,800 hours a year. That's almost 75 full days of your life. Not gone. Just spent unconsciously. The hidden turning point isn't motivation. It's awareness. The moment you stop watching others live and start using your time intentionally. Not perfectly, just honestly. Powerful line. You're not behind. You're just not moving in a direction that's yours. Action for today. Tonight, track how you spend just 2 hours. No judgment, just awareness. Question for you. What is one thing you're doing daily that's quietly keeping you stuck?